When I failed my first competition, my first dance competition, I was very angry. I just thought the judges weren't fair. I thought surely they just didn't know what they were doing. I felt I was the best dancer. And I really wanted to quit the dance school that I was going to. And I hated, that's a strong word, I hated that teacher that was teaching me the dance at that time. I went home and I told my mum, I'm never going to go back to that dance school again. I don't think that teacher's fair. And I don't think they knew what they were doing. Of course I'm a great dancer. How could I not win the competition? My mum was a clever mum. She is. She said, okay, let's go to the teacher again. Let's go and tell her that we're not coming back to the school ever again. Little did I know that this was a little trick. She took me to the school, and all the way, I still remember, I said, Mum, I'm never going to go back to that teacher, right? You know we're going there to quit the classes. She said, yes, let's just go and tell that to your teacher. So I went there, and believe me, till date, the only one person that I'm absolutely scared of is my dance teacher. So once I get there, I looked at her and she was smiling, and I wanted to tell her that I'm not coming back to your dance classes. But of course, I didn't have the guts to say that. And I'm pulling my mum's dress and I'm saying, Mum, tell her what we're going to tell her. So then my mum tells, well, Aarti's saying she's not going to come to your classes again because the competition that she participated in was not fair, and she doesn't think that the judges knew what they were doing. So she's going to quit the classes. And I still remember, I was 8. The teacher smiled at me. She took my hand and made me sit on her lap. And she said, let this be your first loss. Learn to lose, and you will know what winning feels like. She told me, with age, the dance will get better, but you have to remember to give its time. Dance is something that you will learn with life. Your splits might get worse. Your bending, your back bends might become worse as you grow older, but your dance will get better. Hello, my name's Aarti Bajaj, and I will be talking to you about Indian classical and contemporary dancing. In Indian classical dancing, the experience of the art holds the most important part. And according to the scholars, there are 2 different ways where you can experience or you can feel the experience of the art, namely Shravya and Drishti, which means Drishti means eyes. What you see, the visual experience is Drishti, and Shravya is the oral and audible. So what you speak and hear is Shravya. So it's very important for a dancer to give a wholesome experience, both for themselves and for the audience. What you feel and how you propagate that to your audience, and at the same time, what does the audience see, hear and feel, together combining gives a full experience of a dance. Now let's go to one specific dance form, which is Bharatnatyam, which is supposed to be one of the oldest Indian classical dance form. That is the dance form that I specialize in. Bharatnatyam. What is Bharatnatyam? Well, all I can say, I've been learning, teaching, understanding Bharatnatyam for over 25 years, and I'm still learning. It's not just a dance form, it is a subject with lots of calculations, lots of creativity, and when everything comes together, holds the literature and philosophy as its grounds. That's Bharatnatyam. Let's talk about Bharatnatyam. Bharatnatyam is one of the oldest Indian classical dance forms where the word Bharata and Natyam means Bharata. Bha means bhava, which means emotions, expressions. Ra means raga, which means the melody. Ta means tala, which means the rhythm, the tune, the rhythm behind it. And Natyam means dance form. So it's a dance form that has bhav, rag, tal, which is expressions, emotions, melody, and rhythm. It follows a scripture or the theory that Bharatanatyam follows or takes its legends from or its calculations from, its grammar from, is called Natya Shastra. Natya Shastra was written between 200 BC and 200 AD. It's a very, very ancient scripture which is written by the scholar named Bharata Muni. It has all the scriptures or all the calculations that a dancer would need throughout its dance journey, throughout the life journey of a dancer. It doesn't just teach you steps, but it also teaches you how to portray yourself as a dancer. The decline had gone to an extent where then, when the Britishers were ruling India, there was an anti-nautch movement, a bill that was passed where the Indian classical dancing was completely abolished. It was completely declined. It was something that was not performed. It had lost its existence. But with every loss, with every downfall, there arises another Renaissance period, or you could always say like a phoenix that rises from its ashes. The Renaissance period of Indian classical dance forms started in 1928 by E. Krishna Iyer, Bala Saraswati, Rukshmani Devi Arundel. A lot of efforts went in to again revive the respect into the society for this beautiful dance form. And then by 1936, a place called Kalakshetra, which is a renowned place even today in India, was opened by Rukshmani Devi Arundel, which is a platform, which is a school, which is a place where arts, where Bharatnatyam, where Indian classical dances got its respect back into the society. Let's talk about the Indian classical dance form, Bharatnatyam, the history of Bharatnatyam. It has gone through a lot of turmoil. It has gone through a lot of generational changes in it. It started with the scriptures that were written by scholar Bharat Muni between 200 BC to 200 AD. From then till now, it has changed its forms in many ways, whereas it went through many different generational changes through the different kingdoms, the different dynasties, different rulers that came and went, who had come to India. The dancers had a really high position in the society. Those were the times when the dancers were called Devadasis. Devadasis means the dancers who lived for the gods or for the higher supreme power of this universe. They had the biggest place in the society. They were certainly very rich, and they got a very independent, respected position. As the time went by, it did get maligned. The position got maligned. There was corruption that came in because the change in the rulers, the change in the dynasties happened. Slowly, the position of Devadasis went down. The respect wasn't there anymore. The corruption, the people who were looking after them, the priests, they got corrupted as well. And eventually, there came a point where this Devadasis, who hold the most supreme power or the supreme position in the society, came down to Rajdasis. Raj means kingdom. So these now became the dancers who danced for the kings instead of the supreme power or instead of the Almighty. Here was the time when the content, the creativity, the stories also got changed. Where it was danced, where the dancers danced, or the creativity came, where the soul would try and connect with the supreme power, all the creativity, the beautiful, the emotions were something that would transcend beyond the realms. Now suddenly it has moved to more materialistic, to more artificial, to more between mortals. Now it was a dance form where the creativity was by the creator or by the dancer for a king or a ruler in praise of another mortal. Suddenly, it started declining even more. Of course, there was more corruption. And as the rulers changed, as the dynasties changed, the praise changed as well, which means if the dancer danced for a particular king and created some sort of creativity for this king, and when the rules changed, the rulers changed, they were forced to change their creativity as well. They had to change their nuances, the way they spoke, everything for the next king. It lost its essence. And then there came a time where the Britishers came to India, and now from Devdasis to Rajdasis, all of those were demolished. They had no position in the society. It was also considered that good society or women or men who belonged to good families would not dance anymore. It came down to a real decline. But the dancers who were out there in the society and who had to feed their families, they had to earn their living. So what did they do? It went down to something called as Alankar Dasi. Alankar Dasis were the dancers who danced at any occasion, weddings, celebrations, birth, death, any celebration where you wanted some sort of entertainment, an Alankar Dasi would come and entertain. She would easily change her creativity or her content depending on what the occasion demanded. The respect had gone down, had declined. So in Bharatnatyam, before you start the dance repertoire or your session or your performance, and after you finish it, there is something that you always do, and that is called namaskara or namaskar, which you normally would hear it as namaste, but in a dance form. Let me quickly show it to you, then I will tell you the meaning behind it. So, in Katkamukha, so this movement or this position of the hand is called Katkamukha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This little repertoire or construct of steps, which is called as namaskaram, is always done before you start your session or your dance performance and after when you finish it. Why do we do this? What is the purpose or the meaning behind it? In Indian philosophy or in any dance form or any art form, we always, the Indian philosophy or the Indian structure is such, we like to connect this unit, which is the body, to the wider unit, which is the universe. Before or after we do anything, we always believe that energy cannot be created and cannot be destroyed. It can neither be created nor be destroyed. So there are two meanings behind this little construct that you do. One, in Indian philosophy or Indian spirituality, you believe that Earth is Goddess Earth. And because you are about to stamp on it, or because you're going to be a bit harsh on it when you're going to be performing dance steps, you might accidentally hurt her. So you asking Goddess Earth to forgive you even before you're about to start the dance repertoire. And also, once you've taken that forgiveness, or you've asked for the forgiveness, you come up and you seek blessings from 1, 2, and 3, which is 1 here is all the gods and goddesses, or all the energies in the universe. You're asking them to give you all the blessings or all the energies that would be required for you to perform. Once upon a time, there was this demon who was told that there is a child born with the name of Krishna, who will be the reason of his demise. He will be the one who will bring death to him. The demon's sister said, "Don't you worry, brother. I will kill him. I will go and kill that little baby. But you can't go there. We are demons." "You don't know me, brother. I am a demon. But with my trickery, I'm going to turn into a beautiful woman. I will go into the village now, look for him. There he lives. I have come from really far because I've heard that there's a baby who's as glorious as gods. I've come to give my blessings to him. Can I please have a look at him?" "There he is. Thank you. Can I please see him by myself?" "Thank you." Aha! So here you are. They say that you're going to kill my brother. Come here, little baby. When no one's looking, I'm just going to move my drape. Bring you next to my chest. And feed you my poisoned milk. Once you drink it, you'll be dead. You scoundrel! You don't know who I am! Let me show you who I am! I'm the demon! Leave me! And this is how little baby Krishna took the life out of the demon. You've seen me using these 2 pieces of instrument many times now. What are they? They're called Natuangam. It's Tatakali and Falak, made up of just wooden pieces. And this is made up of iron and brass. So one's iron and one's brass. These are to give the beats or the rhythm to the dancer. It also helps the dancer to know what speed it goes or the repertoire goes. Let's just show you again. the dancer gets to know which beat, where, how. Also, once you get used to it, or when you're learning, you will know the different stances of the feet. So when you stand, when you put your feet out like this, or when you have the softer move. So, da, 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 da. So whether I am stamping it, or whether I have a soft tone. These beats tell you. So, Ratuangam, when the dancer learns to compose or to put things together in a dance form, becomes a very important part of their learning. 1, 2, 3, ta, ke, ta, darang, takatati. What's the difference between Indian classical dancing and Western ballet? Or what is the main important key that makes Indian classical dancing so different from any other dance form? In Indian classical dancing, the dancer or the emotion or the expression cannot be just conveyed with the body, or just with the limbs. Every part, the entire human body, the surroundings, the platform that you're using, everything becomes the part or becomes the tool. The Indian classical dancer, while performing an Indian classical dance, cannot detach the face, the eyes, the limbs, the fingers, the eyebrows, the lips, the flicker in the lip, the little eyelashes, the eyelids, the eyeballs, from the big arm movements to the big leg movements. Yes, we have different components that while you're training, you learn how to control and how to use every part of your body. All of it becomes as one unit. So, when you're telling a story, or when you're telling or performing a repertoire, you use hand gestures, which are called hasta vinyoga. Hasta means hand, vinyoga means movements. So you use different hand movements to convey your story. There are two different categories of hasta vinyoga. Asayukta hasta mudra, sayukta hasta mudra. Asayukta hasta mudra. Asayukta means one hand gesture, something that is not together. So one hand gestures, you have set of those, then sayukta hasta mudra, which is two hand gestures. Sayukta means together. So you have two hand gestures that fall in that category as well. Let me give you some examples, like pataka, tripataka, ardhapataka, kartari mukha. So these are asayukta hasta mudras, just a few that I have demonstrated. So pataka is flag. Tripataka is 1/3 of a flag. Ardhapataka is half of a flag. This is just one hand gesture, pataka. But when pataka wants to be used and various other forms, then each of this hand gesture has various other things that you can use it for. For example, I'm only going to use pataka, and how many different ways can I use pataka? Natyarambhe varivahe vane vastu nishedane kuchasale. So what did I do? There are many more. So, a pataka, which in its specific form means flag, can be used in many different forms, like beginning of a dance, natyarambhe, varivahe, a dense forest, vane, vastu nishedane, when I don't want something. So a hand gesture, one, which is pataka, can be used in various different forms and language for dance. So we spoke a little bit about hand gestures. So now let's go to the head movements. The movements of head are called shirobheda. Shir means head, bheda means movement. Let me show you some. Samam, udvahitam, adhomukham, alolitam, dhutam, kampitam cha, paravrittam, ukshittam, parivahitam. So these are different head movements. Let me show you some neck movements. It's called griva bhed. Griva means neck, bhed means movement. Sundarascha tiraschina tataiva parivartita prakampitam cha. Like that, you have lots of head movements. Similarly, we have a language for eyes, which is called drishti bheda. Drishti means eyes, bhed means movements. Similarly, we have feet movements or leg movements, which is called pada bheda. Pada means feet, bheda means movement. So each of the limb or each of the periphery, each of the component of this unit called body learns a language or has a language when put together, comes into repertoire.